My husband laughed. He actually laughed and said, "What are you going to do? File a divorce?" I had caught him with my own mother. I didn't say a word. I just walked away and started packing my bags. They stopped laughing when they saw that I was serious. Hello, family. Welcome back to Voices of Auntie Ruthy. Before we begin, tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing the cities light up in the comments. Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Houston. Let's see how far this story travels tonight, and don't forget to hit subscribe button. That morning was beautiful in the most forgettable way. Sunlight slid across the granite countertops like it did every other Thursday. I remember because I had finally finished the Carver Towers blueprint ahead of schedule. Another residential block that would someday stand straight because I calculated every beam, every load. I'm Naomi Ellison, 51, architect, wife, daughter, believer in structure. I built my firm in downtown Atlanta with bare hands and bright eyes. I built my marriage the same way, or so I thought. By 5 p.m., the city was softening. Cars hummed toward home, and so did I. On the way, I stopped at Haven Market for basil, parmesan, and a bottle of Napa Cabernet Reserve 2017, Marcus's favorite. After 26 years of marriage, little gestures become shorthand for love. You cook the pasta the way he likes. You laugh at the same stories you've heard 100 times. You hold your mother close when she says she's proud of the man you married. I remember thinking how lucky I was to still have both of them, my husband and my mother, under the same roof so often. Mom had been visiting a lot lately, saying my house felt like peace. She stayed over to keep me company while Marcus traveled for work. I believed her. I believed everyone. Our home sat in Eastlake, a leafy suburb outside Atlanta, 2 stories of glass, steel, and reclaimed oak. I designed every inch. The staircase curves just enough for elegance without wasting space. The windows catch morning light and spill it across the dining table like forgiveness. Everything about that house was planned, except betrayal. I parked, grabbed the grocery bag, and pushed through the front door. Inside smelled of lemon cleaner and lavender. Peaceful. Familiar. Then I heard it. A sound that didn't belong. Laughter. A woman's laughter. High, breathy, too intimate for any ordinary conversation. At first I smiled. Mom must be on speakerphone with her church group again. Then a man's chuckle answered hers, low and rough, Marcus's. Something inside me tipped. I moved quietly through the hallway, each step an echo I wished would vanish. The laughter was coming from upstairs, from our bedroom. My brain refused the data. Architects trust measurements, not feelings. But my pulse became a ruler slamming against the table. I pushed the door open. The world did not explode, it simply stopped. My mother, my husband, sheets tangled, skin bare, eyes wide, but not from shame, from irritation at being interrupted. My grocery bag hit the floor. The wine bottle rolled once and stopped against the dresser leg. No one moved for a full breath. Then Marcus chuckled. He actually chuckled. "Naomi," he said, "let's not make a scene. What are you going to do? File a divorce?" My mother's voice followed, sweet as spoiled sugar. "Baby, calm down. We're adults. We can talk about this." Adults. That word rang like metal on stone. Adults don't make love in their daughter's bed and call it conversation. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry. I turned around, walked down the hall, and felt something in my chest go perfectly still, like a building in an earthquake right before the collapse. In the closet, I pulled down the Italian leather suitcase Marcus loved to brag about. It thudded onto the bed with the weight of decision. I began to pack, but not clothes. I packed documents. The deed, the firm's incorporation papers, my grandmother's will, spare keys, backup drive, my passport. From the kitchen, I could still hear them. Muffled voices, then another short laugh, nervous now. They didn't know what kind of woman they were dealing with. I build things meant to withstand pressure. I can also dismantle them, cleanly, When I stepped back into the bedroom doorway, suitcase open, they both turned. The laughter drained from the room. Marcus's jaw tightened. "Naomi, what are you doing?" "Exactly what you told me to," I said. "Something adult." I walked past them, down the stairs, the sound of the zipper closing trailing behind me like applause for leaving quietly. Marcus followed me down the stairs, still bare-chested, voice rising with every step. "Naomi, stop acting crazy. You're not leaving. We can talk this out." I didn't answer. I set the suitcase beside the foyer table and opened the drawer where we kept the mail. Inside lay the folder labeled House Deed, Ellison Property. My name alone on that crisp white page. I slipped it inside. My mother appeared at the top of the stairs wearing one of my silk robes, the one I used to wear for anniversaries. She clutched it like it meant innocence. "Naomi, please, you're overreacting. We didn't mean for you to find out this way. Marcus and we were going to tell you." "Tell me." The absurdity of it made my throat ache with laughter I refused to give them. "You were going to tell me what?" "That the two people I loved most had been whispering in my walls, sleeping in my bed, eating at my table." I said nothing. Silence was my weapon now. I walked to the kitchen counter, picked up my phone, and opened my notes. I scrolled to the checklist I wrote 2 years ago, after watching my friend lose everything to a cheating husband. Emergency exit protocol, Naomi edition. I tapped the first item. Remove authorized user. Marcus Ellison. Within seconds, his name disappeared from my Amex Platinum account. The satisfying click of confirmation successful rang louder than any argument. He noticed. "Did you just cut me off?" he barked. I didn't look up. I opened the next app. Verizon Family Plan. Removed line ending in 4728. His number. Gone. "Naomi," he shouted. "You're being petty." My mother descended the stairs slowly, eyes darting from me to him. "Baby, come sit. We'll pray about this. You're upset." I looked at her for the first time since opening that door upstairs. The woman who taught me to braid my hair, to say grace before meals, to never let bitterness take root. Her face looked older, smaller, wrapped in the kind of fear that comes only when you realize your mask has melted. "Mom," I said softly, "you should go pack too." The color drained from her cheeks. "What?" "You heard me." Then I turned to Marcus. "Both of you, you have 1 hour." He laughed again, that cruel, mocking sound I used to think was charm. 1 hour? You're ridiculous. You don't even know how to live alone anymore." He stepped closer. "Everything you own, your car, your house, your fancy office, it's all because I supported you." I met his gaze. "You supported me the way termites support wood." The silence that followed was sharp. My mother's breath caught like a hiccup. Marcus grabbed the back of a chair, his knuckles white. "You're really doing this? After everything?" "Yes," I said. "After everything." I went upstairs to our bedroom. I opened drawers and pulled out only what was mine. My laptop, my external drive, my jewelry box, and the locket my grandmother gave me when she died. I left the rest. Every time I folded a blouse, I remembered the years I'd spent designing other people's dream homes while ignoring the cracks in my own. Every sleeve, every pair of jeans went into the suitcase like evidence sealed in a case file. Downstairs, I heard muffled voices. My mother's whisper, Marcus's frustration. Something crashed. A glass, maybe. I didn't care. When I zipped the suitcase closed, the sound felt final, like nails in a coffin. I wheeled it to the top of the stairs. They were both waiting at the bottom, like two guilty children caught sneaking out after curfew. My mother reached out, tears trembling in her voice. "Naomi, please, I'm still your mother." "No," I said evenly. "You were my mother. Now you're just someone who borrowed her face." Her lips parted, but no words came. Marcus stepped forward again. You think you can walk out and ruin everything we built? I tilted my head. You already ruined it. I'm just cleaning up. While they stood there frozen, I opened my laptop on the kitchen island and connected to Wi-Fi. The house security app glowed on the screen. Remove secondary users. 2 names appeared, Marcus Ellison, Rose Carter. I tapped revoke access. The front door locks would no longer open for them. The cameras would no longer recognize their phones. They watched me do it. Neither moved. Naomi, Marcus said, voice shaking. You can't just erase us. I looked at him, steady. Watch me. Then, like salvation, my phone rang. A name flashed, Ava Collins, my best friend since college, the woman who had seen me through miscarriages, deadlines, and every heartbreak in between. I stepped into the hallway and answered. Ava, I whispered. The second she heard my voice, she knew. What happened? I swallowed. Marcus, and my mother. A pause, then a string of curses that would have made my grandmother faint. Where are you? She asked. At home. Not for long, she said. You're coming here, tonight. I ended the call and turned back toward the kitchen. Marcus and my mother were still there, whispering, faces pale. I'm leaving, I said. The house is mine. You'll get papers soon. Marcus laughed again, desperate this time. You're not serious. You can't live without me. I picked up my keys. Watch me, I said again. As I opened the door, my mother called out, voice breaking. Where will you go? I didn't answer. Outside, the air was cool and heavy with the scent of rain. I pulled my phone and ordered an Uber, 5 minutes away. While I waited on the porch, I heard movement inside. The thud of footsteps, a door slamming, the faint sound of Marcus yelling something I couldn't make out. It didn't matter. The Uber pulled up, a black sedan, headlights slicing the driveway. The driver, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, got out and lifted my suitcase into the trunk. He must have seen something in my face because he didn't ask a single question. As the car rolled away, the house disappeared in the rearview mirror. My sanctuary turned crime scene. My chest hurt, not from heartbreak but from clarity. The kind you don't pray for but get anyway. The driver glanced at me in the mirror. You okay, ma'am? I smiled without meaning to. No, but I will be. He nodded once, turned up the soft jazz on the radio, and let the night carry us toward downtown Atlanta. Halfway there, my phone started buzzing. Marcus first, then my mother. I hit decline both times. Text messages followed. Marcus. Pick up the phone. Don't do this. We can fix it. Rose. Naomi. Please, you'll regret this. I blocked them both. The silence afterward was so pure it felt like breathing for the first time in years. Ava was waiting outside her townhouse in Midtown, arms crossed, wearing pajamas and slippers. When she saw me step out of the car, she ran forward and hugged me so hard I almost collapsed. She didn't ask a single question that night. She just guided me to the guest room, handed me a mug of chamomile tea, and said, Sleep. We'll talk in the morning. I tried. Sleep came in pieces. Minutes of black followed by flashes of my mother's face, Marcus's laughter, the sound of that zipper closing. By sunrise, I was awake, sitting at the edge of the bed, staring at the pale Atlanta sky through Ava's curtains. Everything felt both too real and too distant, like I'd stepped into someone else's life overnight. But then, in that silence, a thought came clear as daylight. I am still here. That's enough to start with. Morning crept in through Ava's sheer curtains, painting the walls a soft gold, the kind of morning that usually means coffee, plans, small talk. But that day, it meant reckoning. Ava moved quietly around the kitchen, the smell of buttered toast and coffee filling the space. When she saw me, she didn't pity me, thank God for that. She just poured a second cup and slid it across the counter. All right, she said, voice firm. What's step 1? Lawyer, I whispered. Good, I know one. He's meaner than the devil and cheaper than therapy. By 9 a.m., we were driving downtown. Atlanta looked different from the passenger seat, like a city I'd drawn on paper but never stepped inside. Traffic lights, billboards, people walking dogs, all the ordinary things of ordinary lives. Mine had stopped being ordinary last night. Sterling A. Polk, Family Law, was printed in bronze on a door of smoked glass. The receptionist recognized my name from Ava's call and ushered me straight in. Mr. Polk looked exactly like a man who dismantles other people's pretenses for a living. White hair, razor-creased suit, calm eyes that see through. He didn't interrupt once while I told him everything, from the laughter in my bedroom to the silence in the Uber. He asked for dates, bank names, account types, property titles. I handed him a folder already labeled Ellison versus Ellison, pending. He smiled faintly. "You're efficient." "I build things to last," I said, "and I tear down what shouldn't." He flipped through my documents, nodding. "You're sole owner of the house?" "Yes." "Primary income earner?" "Yes." "Any shared children still dependent?" "One adult son, independent." He leaned back. "Then this is cleaner than most. Adultery, financial abuse, emotional cruelty. We'll file for divorce with special prejudice. You'll keep the house, assets, retirement. They'll get a summons before the weekend." Hearing it spoken aloud felt like signing a demolition order for a skyscraper I once loved. It was necessary, but it still shook the ground. By noon, the paperwork was signed. I watched the clerk stamp the documents, each heavy thud like a heartbeat finding rhythm again. Outside, the sun blazed high. Ava squeezed my shoulder. "You did it." I nodded, still half dazed. "Now what?" "Now you eat lunch, and then you call the locksmith." We sat in a cafe on Peachtree Street. Every fork clink, every conversation sounded too normal, as if the world refused to notice it had just shifted off its axis. I chewed, swallowed, and realized hunger was back. That felt like victory. When we returned to Ava's townhouse, my phone was a storm. 23 missed calls, 10 voicemails. Most from unknown numbers, a few from family contacts labeled "Don't Answer." I pressed play once, just once. Marcus's voice filled the room, frantic. "Naomi, please pick up. We can fix this. You don't have to embarrass us. Think about your reputation." Embarrass us. The words tasted like acid. I deleted every message without listening twice. Then I changed my number. That evening, Mr. Polk emailed. Papers served at 5:47 p.m. Both recipients present. Reaction: hostile. Police standby confirmed. Proceeding as scheduled. I pictured them opening the door to a stranger holding manila envelopes stamped, Superior Court of Fulton County. I imagined my mother's face crumpling, Marcus's smirk dissolving. It should have felt triumphant. Instead, I sat very still and whispered, "Let it end clean." At Ava's, night stretched long. We opened a bottle of wine. Nothing fancy, just enough courage in a glass. Ava turned on an old blues record and said, "You get one night to grieve. After that, we plan." I laughed for the first time since it happened. A small sound, shaky but real. It surprised both of us. When I finally slept, dreams came jagged, walls closing, my mother's perfume, Marcus's laugh fading into sirens. But I woke up dry-eyed, breathing steady. Healing had clocked in for its first shift. Saturday morning, my phone buzzed again. New number, same voice. My mother. "Naomi, please don't hang up." I almost did. But something in her tone, half guilt, half strategy, kept me quiet. She said, "Kinsley told me, oh wait, you don't have siblings." Let's correct that. Her brother's wife had called her. No, simpler. "Your Aunt Jones said you've lost your mind, filing police like that." "Baby, we can fix this privately. Families don't need courts." I took a long breath. "Mom, families don't need beds either, but you found one." Her gasp crackled through the line. Then came the tears, theatrical, familiar. You don't understand, Naomi. I was lonely. You're always working, always so strong. He made me feel seen. There it was. The selfish honesty she probably thought sounded profound. Mom, I said, you weren't invisible. You were sacred. And you burned that. She switched tactics. Fast. You'll regret talking to your mother like this when I'm gone. I regretted not talking sooner, I answered, and hung up. By Sunday, the whispers started. Old church friends texted, "We're praying for you." Others wrote, "Your mother's heart is broken. Maybe forgive?" Forgive. The easiest word to throw at someone else's wound. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a single line on Facebook, plain and polite. "Thank you for your prayers. Truth is never gossip, and peace sometimes requires distance." Then I logged off for good. The quiet that followed was priceless. 2 days later, my bank called. "Mrs. Ellison, there's been an attempted withdrawal of $7,000 from your joint account. We flagged it." I smiled grimly. "Good catch." The teller hesitated. "The request came from your home IP address." "Not my home," I said. "Not anymore." I froze all remaining shared assets, every account, every card. If Marcus wanted gas money, he'd have to find it under someone else's mercy. That night, Ava watched me type passwords into a new encrypted vault. "Girl, you're scarier than the IRS," she said. "Good," I answered. "They fear me now." When anger fails, manipulators perform pity. My mother posted on social media a long paragraph about watching her daughter fall into bitterness. She said she was praying I'd remember the commandment to honor thy mother. Comments poured in, people choosing sides like it was Sunday brunch gossip. I didn't defend myself. I let her stage her little play. And 2 hours later, I dropped one calm comment under her post. "Ask her why she still has my husband's toothbrush." Silence fell online like a curtain. Within minutes, she deleted the post, and the church ladies deleted their sympathy emojis. Ava laughed so hard she nearly spilled her tea. "That," she said, "was biblical." The following week stretched slow. I worked remotely from Ava's guest room, designed floor plans by day, cried by night. Sometimes both at once. Grief came in waves, not for Marcus. He was just noise now. But for my mother. The person I thought she was. The childhood that looked different in hindsight. Every smell, every song, every prayer reminded me of her. I kept expecting her to call with the voice that once soothed me after nightmares. But the only call that came was from Mr. Polk. "Preliminary hearing set for next Friday. Be ready." Ready. As if anyone ever is. Friday arrived gray and humid. Ava drove me to the courthouse. The hallway smelled of coffee and nerves. Marcus was there with a cheap-suited attorney. My mother stood behind him, eyes red, lips trembling like someone rehearsing grief. They didn't look at me until the judge entered. Mr. Polk laid out everything. The adultery, the ownership documents, the financial evidence. Marcus's lawyer tried to object, claiming emotional duress. The judge raised one eyebrow. Duress of his own making, it seems. Case postponed for settlement. My victory was procedural, but real. As we left, Marcus muttered, "You'll pay for this." I turned, voice low. "Already did. 26 years. 3 days later, an email from the bank. "Congratulations on your new car loan." I hadn't applied for one. They had, in my name, for a brand new Lexus RX. I called the fraud department. The agent checked the logs, applications submitted from my home Wi-Fi. That meant they were still inside. Mr. Polk handled the paperwork for criminal complaint. Detective Shaw from the Atlanta PD met me at the precinct. He listened quietly, typed steadily, and finally said, "Ma'am, you're doing everything right. We'll handle the rest." Within days, warrants were issued to seize devices. Identity theft isn't a joke in Georgia. It's a felony. 30 days after the initial notice, Mr. Polk and 2 officers met me outside my house. They knocked. No answer. Locksmith opened the door. The smell hit first. Stale wine, trash, and bitterness. Furniture slashed, walls vandalized with lipstick scrawls. Witch and thief. They wanted me to feel cursed. Instead, I felt confirmed. In the bedroom, they sat on the mattress, defeated. Kinsley's gone. We'll keep Kinsley out. It's Mother. My mother's eyes were hollow. Marcus looked older, smaller. When the officers read the eviction order, she whispered, "Naomi, please." I said, "I'm done listening." Then the detectives arrived, Shaw and his partner, warrants in hand. Devices collected, rights read, handcuffs clicked. Marcus turned gray. My mother sobbed. Watching them led out of my ruined house didn't feel like revenge. It felt like quiet, and quiet is priceless. Cleanup took weeks. Professionals stripped carpets, repainted walls, replaced locks. Insurance covered most of it. Peace covered the rest. The case ended in plea deals. 5 years probation, restitution, community service. No jail, but no hiding either. Their names on record. I sold the house, bought a 2-bedroom condo downtown with sunlight that hits every corner. I filled it with plants that don't need permission to grow. I started therapy. First session, I cried the whole hour. Second, I spoke 10 words. I don't know how to be anyone's daughter anymore. The therapist said, then start by being your own. So I did. I joined a women's support group. One evening, a younger woman shared how she caught her fiancé cheating with her cousin. She said, "I feel like I'm dying." I told her, "You're not dying. You're molting. The old skin hurts coming off, but wait till you see the color underneath." She cried. We all did. Months later, I found the Italian leather suitcases, the same ones from that night, stacked in storage. I dragged them to the dumpster and threw them in, one by one. They landed with a heavy thud that sounded like closure. Then I bought a new set. Light, durable, sapphire blue. Mine alone. I booked a trip, 2 weeks in Charleston, just me, a notebook, and ocean air. The first morning there, I stood barefoot on the beach, watching the tide erase footprints I didn't want anymore. For the first time in forever, I whispered, "I'm free," and believed it. Sometimes people ask, "Did you forgive them?" Forgiveness, I learned, isn't a gift you hand to thieves. It's a peace treaty you sign with yourself. I forgave myself for believing they were better. That's enough. Marcus disappeared into small jobs. My mother moved out of state. We haven't spoken. Maybe one day. Maybe never. But the laughter that used to haunt me? Gone. Replaced by something steadier. The sound of my own heartbeat when I wake up alone and unafraid. They stopped laughing when they saw that I was leaving without permission. They stopped laughing when they saw I knew where the power lived, and it lived with me. They stopped laughing when I stopped performing pain for them, just doors opening for the woman who built them all. If this story touched you, family, let me know what city you're watching from. Your comments remind me how far courage can travel. And if you'd like more true stories like this one, hit subscribe and tap super thanks. That's how we keep the light on here at Voices of Auntie Ruthy. On your screen, 2 new life stories wait for you. Pick one. Stay a little longer. And remember, if they laugh at your pain, start packing. They'll stop laughing when you stand up. With love and with steel, Voices of Auntie Ruthy.